This is the story of how man's best friend was born. 20,000 years ago, in the frozen lands of prehistoric Europe, survival was not just hard, it was brutal. Tribes lived and died by the hunt, and every boy dreamed of proving himself a man. Tao, a respected leader, guides his hunters toward a massive herd of steppe bison. Among them is his son, Keda Young, untested but determined to earn his place. This is more than just a hunt. For Keda, it is a trial by fire. The difference between being a boy and becoming a warrior. The hunters form a deadly wall of spears. They push the beast toward the cliff's edge, the ground trembling with thunderous hooves. Panic erupts, and most of the herd plunges into the abyss. But fate has its own cruel plan. One monstrous bull turns back, charging straight at Keda. In seconds, the boy is thrown down, the beast's horns cutting deep. Tao fights desperately to save his son, stabbing the bull, but the chaos ends with Keda tumbling off the cliff into the darkness below. 1 week before the disastrous hunt, the tribe prepares its young men for their greatest test. The teenagers gather, their hands trembling as they shape sharp stone into deadly spears. It's a test of patience, strength, and courage. Only 2 succeed: Keda, the chief's son, and his friend Kappa. Their reward? They will join the men on the last great hunt before winter seals the land in ice. But becoming a man in this tribe is no simple ceremony. As night falls, the fire crackles, and the young boys are beaten by the older warriors, not out of cruelty, but to teach them a truth that will follow them forever. Pain will always walk beside you. After the ritual, the shaman blesses them, painting their faces with sacred ash, while the tribe chants under the stars. Yet not everyone believes in Keda. Later that night, while pretending to sleep, Keda overhears his parents talking. His mother, Ro, whispers her fears Keda is not ready. He leads with his heart, not his spear. But Tao, his father and chief, disagrees. To him, this journey is not optional, it is destiny. The next morning, the hunters prepare to leave. Mothers embrace their sons, wives kiss their husbands, and the shaman raises his staff in blessing. Before Keda departs, Ro wraps him in an extra piece of fur, pressing it into his hands, a mother's quiet prayer for her son's safety. With heavy hearts and hopeful eyes, the hunting party sets off, following the sacred path, a trail of stone carvings left by ancestors, hands painted on rocks pointing the way to the hunting grounds. But danger walks with them, unseen, and soon Keda will face a lesson harsher than any ritual. The hunters march across the endless land, stone handprints guiding them like the voices of their ancestors. Along the way, they meet another hunting party, led by Shi, an old friend of Tao's, who carries a heavy grief. He has recently lost his own son, and his eyes burn with unspoken sorrow. Together, the 2 parties join forces, their footsteps echoing across the plains. But while the men prove their strength, Keda struggles. When the hunters capture a wild boar, he cannot bring himself to deliver the killing strike. Later, when the tribe rests for the night, Keda fails to start a fire. His hands shake, his heart too soft for the brutal world around him. Each failure carves doubt deeper into his soul. One evening, as the men sit around the fire, laughter breaks the silence of the night. But suddenly, a sound comes from the darkness. The hunters leap to their feet, spears raised, eyes sharp. The silence drags on. Nothing moves. They relax. It is a mistake they will never forget. From the shadows, a cave lion explodes into the camp. With terrifying speed, it seizes Keda's closest friend and drags him screaming into the darkness. The men give chase, but it's too late. The night swallows Kappa whole. The next morning, the hunters build a cairn of stones, a grave for the boy whose spirit now travels to the afterlife. Keda stands before it, grief and guilt crushing his chest. His best friend is gone, and his journey has only just begun. The hunting party pushes onward, their silence heavy after Kappa's death. Every man walks with sharpened eyes, knowing the wild shows no mercy. One night, the hunters find shelter inside a vast cave. Its walls echo with ancient whispers, shadows dancing in the glow of firelight. Tao calls his son forward. Tonight, Keda will be marked not as a boy, but as a man. With careful hands, Tao takes sharp stone and ink, tattooing the constellation across Keda's skin. It is the same mark. Tao bears a map of the stars, so that no matter where Keda wanders, he will always find the way home. The boy grits his teeth through the pain, but this pain is different. It feels like belonging. Days pass. The air grows colder. At last, the hunters find what they seek, the herd of mighty steppe bison. The ground trembles beneath their hooves, the sky filled with their thunder. The hunters prepare their trap, a wall of men and spears, to drive the beasts toward the cliffs. The earth shakes, the herd charges, and chaos erupts. Spears fly, men roar, and bison fall to their deaths below. Victory surges through the hunters, but for Keda, fate has prepared a cruel twist. Among the survivors is one raging bull, enormous, furious, unbroken. It charges straight at Keda. Tao's heart stops. The beast slams its horns into the boy, flinging him toward the cliff's edge. In a desperate cry, Tao hurls his spear, striking the animal, but it's too late. Keda's grip slips, and with a scream lost to the wind, he falls into the abyss. Keda plummets, striking a ledge before smashing against the rocks below. His leg twists unnaturally, pain ripping through his body. Darkness swallows him. Above, Tao screams his son's name, but the tribe pulls him back. To climb down is death. They tell him it's too late. The hunt must continue. Tao's cries echo across the cliff as his men drag him away, leaving a cairn, a pile of stones, to mourn the son they believe lost forever. But fate has other plans. Hours later, vultures circle above, drawn by the scent of death. One swoops down, its beak tearing at Keda's flesh. The sharp pain jolts him awake. With trembling hands, he grabs the bird, wringing its neck. His breath is shallow, his body broken, but he is alive. Rain begins to pour, filling the cracks and pooling beneath him. As the storm rages, Keda realizes the truth. No rescue is coming. If he wants to live, he must save himself. Clinging to jagged rocks, he begins to climb. His injured leg screams with every move, his hand sliced open by stone. Hours stretch into agony until finally he collapses at the top, at the very cairn his father built for him. Keda stares at the stones, meant to honor his death, and in a surge of rage, he kicks them down. "I am not dead," his eyes seem to say, "not yet." And so begins a journey. No boy was ever meant to endure a journey through wild lands where every step could be his last. Keda limps through the wilderness, dragging his injured leg as he searches for water and food. He drinks from muddy puddles, eats insects, and climbs trees at night to avoid predators. Every breath is pain, every step a battle, but giving up is not an option. One day, disaster strikes. A pack of hungry wolves spots him in the open. Their glowing eyes and sharp fangs close in fast. Keda scrambles up a tree, but not before one wolf's jaws clamp onto his leg. He stabs desperately with his knife, wounding the animal, and manages to haul himself to safety. The pack circles below, growling, waiting. Hours pass until, one by one, the wolves retreat into the night, all except the one Keda wounded. The injured wolf limps and whines in agony, unable to follow the others. Keda watches from above, torn. His father taught him, weakness has no place in the wild. Yet as the creature howls in pain, Keda's heart aches. He climbs down slowly, spear in hand, ready to finish it. But when the moment comes, he can't. Instead, Keda does the unthinkable. He ties its muzzle shut to protect himself, lifts the wounded wolf onto his shoulders, and carries it to a nearby stream. There, he washes its wound with trembling hands. The bond is fragile, uncertain, born from both mercy and desperation. But on this night, boy and beast shelter together in the same cave, two lost souls, clinging to life against a world that wants them both dead. Little does Keda know, this single act of kindness will change not just his survival, but the course of history. At first, the wolf growls and snaps whenever Keda approaches. Its golden eyes burn with suspicion, and its body trembles between rage and pain. Keda keeps his distance, offering scraps of food, carefully placing them within reach. Slowly, night after night, the wolf eats. Days pass, and the line between fear and trust begins to blur. Keda notices how the wolf doesn't try to bite him anymore. Instead, its ears perk up at his voice. Its tail twitches when he approaches. The ice of hostility begins to melt, but survival in the wild is never easy. When another pack of wolves appears in the distance, Keda braces for an attack. To his shock, the wounded wolf, still limping but fierce, steps forward, growling to protect him. It drives the others away, standing between the boy and danger. That night, for the first time, Keda doesn't tie the wolf's muzzle. He lies beside it in the cave, feeling its warm breath against his hand. Trust has taken root. The boy names him Alpha, the leader, the first, the companion who stood when all others turned away. Together, they begin to move as one. Keda hunts small animals, sharing the meat with Alpha. Alpha tracks scents, warning Keda of predators long before they appear. The bond deepens, not built on dominance or fear, but on something far greater, loyalty. As the snow thickens and the wind howls across the land, Keda realizes something profound. He is no longer alone. The boy and the wolf are no longer just survivors. They are partners, fighting side by side against a world that wants them both gone. What started as an act of mercy has become the greatest alliance of Keda's life. Winter deepens. The land becomes a white wasteland of endless snow, where even the sun hides behind thick gray clouds. Keda and Alpha move slowly, their breath turning to frost in the freezing air. Hunger gnaws at them. For days, no prey can be found. Keda's ribs begin to show, and Alpha's once powerful stride weakens. Yet even in starvation, the wolf never leaves Keda's side. Then comes the storm. A blizzard erupts with terrifying force, the wind howling like 1,000 spirits. Keda stumbles through the blinding snow, clutching his furs, calling out to Alpha. The wolf barks back, guiding him toward the shelter of a cave. Inside, they huddle together, shivering violently. Keda wraps his cloak around Alpha as much as himself. It is not man-saving beast, nor beast-saving man, it is survival shared. But the storm lasts for days. Supplies vanish, strength fades. Keda forces himself to push deeper into the cave, searching desperately for anything. By sheer luck, he finds a cluster of frozen bats clinging to the walls. Disgusting, but life-saving. He roasts them over a weak flame, sharing half with Alpha. Still, the wild is relentless. One night, Alpha collapses from exhaustion. Keda kneels beside him, stroking his fur, whispering through tears. "You can't leave me now, not after everything." With trembling hands, he forces Alpha to eat small scraps of meat, reviving him bit by bit. The wolf's breathing steadies, its eyes flicker open. The bond grows unbreakable, a friendship forged not in comfort, but in suffering. When the blizzard finally clears, Keda and Alpha emerge from the cave. Weakened but alive, they stare at the endless horizon. The journey is far from over, but together, they will face whatever comes next. When the storm passes, new dangers rise from the dark. Keda and Alpha continue their slow march across the frozen plains. The snow crunches under their weak steps, and every breath burns in the icy wind. Just as hope begins to return, fate tests them again. Hyenas appear on their trail, their howls echoing across the night. Dozens of glowing eyes stalk them from the distance, waiting for weakness. Keda grips his spear. Alpha growls low, but both know in the open snow they will not last long. They run, their lungs ache, their legs tremble, yet survival pushes them forward. At last, they spot a cave, their only chance. They rush inside, expecting safety. But the darkness holds something worse. From the shadows, a cave lion emerges massive, scarred, and hungry. Its roar shakes the walls, and the hyenas outside scatter in fear. Keda and Alpha are now trapped with a predator that bows to none. The lion strikes first, pouncing with terrifying speed. Alpha throws himself into battle, teeth sinking into the beast's neck, buying Keda precious seconds. With trembling hands, Keda raises the bow he scavenged, knocks an arrow, and aims. The fight is brutal. Alpha is tossed aside, blood staining the snow. The lion charges again, but this time, Keda lets the arrow fly. It pierces the beast's chest, and with a final thunderous roar, the cave lion collapses. Breathing hard, Keda drops the bow and rushes to Alpha's side. The wolf is wounded, bleeding heavily, but alive. Keda presses his hands against the wound, whispering, "Stay with me, Alpha. Don't you dare give up now." The cave is silent again, except for Keda's desperate prayers. They have survived the lion, but at what cost? Keda and Alpha stumble back into the storm after the brutal cave lion fight. Alpha limps with every step, her strength fading fast. Keda, too, is coughing blood, his body breaking under the cold. Yet neither gives up because now they are not just surviving, they are fighting to make it home. Through blizzards and endless white, they push forward. One night, as the northern lights dance across the sky, Keda sees the sacred markers left by their ancestors. They're close. Hope ignites again, but Alpha finally collapses in the snow, unable to rise. Keda refuses to leave her behind. With trembling arms, he lifts Alpha, carrying her step by painful step through the storm. His vision blurs, his strength fades, but his father's words echo in his mind. He is stronger than even he knows. At last, they reach the village. The tribe gathers, gasping in disbelief. Tao rushes forward, tears streaming as he embraces his son. "You made it," he whispers, voice breaking. "I'm proud of you." But the story is not over. The shaman examines Alpha and reveals a truth no one expected. She is female, and she is giving birth. Under firelight, surrounded by the tribe, Alpha brings new life into the world. Healthy wolf pups are born, their cries filling the night. The tribe cheers, not just for survival, but for a bond that has changed everything. Seasons pass. The pups grow strong, no longer wild predators, but trusted companions. Soon, they join the hunters of the tribe, walking side by side with humans on the sacred path. And so, from one boy's struggle to survive and one wounded wolf's trust, a new bond is forged. The first friendship between humans and wolves. A bond that will last for thousands of years. The beginning of what we now know as dogs. This is the legacy of Keda and Alpha,